The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. Viewers, listeners, happy holidays to you and yours. I come to you this holiday season, fingers cramped, eyes bleary, exhaustion that you can hear in my voice because I am in the midst of the time-honored, blessed holiday tradition that is assembling furniture that you get over the holidays, and I'm in it. I'm in it, folks, and it is killing me. Am I assembling the furniture, or is the furniture assembling me, or should I say disassembling me at this point? I got to talk to our co-host this week about this, Elisa Rockdock. Elisa, how are you? Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to be here, Ryan. How are you? I feel like, but you didn't read the instructions with the little IKEA stick figure, folk. It should be relatively easy. It's got pictures on the right there on the manual.
Well, since you bring up IKEA, I want to say that it's something of a cliche at this point that like the quintessential marriage destroying activity is the assembling of IKEA furniture, right? That's what you always, it starts a lot of fights and everything. But I feel like IKEA gets a bad rap in this regard, right? I mean, I know you're an IKEA fan. You know your way around that the Swedish meatballs and
An Allen wrench.
Absolutely. But the experience of IKEA is wonderful, and we all got IKEA furniture in our house. And frankly, I think that as much as people make fun of how hard it is to assemble IKEA furniture, it's largely a frictionless experience. You got the cute little cartoon guy. He tells you what to do. There's not a lot of words in the directions. It's pictures that are easy to follow. And while it can be occasionally frustrating, that's not the furniture assembling experience that has me destroyed right now. Because as perhaps difficult as IKEA assembly can be on occasion, the real marriage destroying furniture assembly is not IKEA. It is the Amazon random Eastern Hemisphere country furniture assembly.
Letters.
Yeah. Where you get
all caps.
You get the directions that are obviously translated from random native language into English, but by somebody who doesn't really know either language. Mm-hmm. And just random words in there, and the words fall off the page, and the shapes of the furniture in the instructions don't look anything like anything that's in the thing. And, you have too many of some screws and not enough of the other screws that you need. That is the furniture experience that will destroy people. And that's what I'm in the midst of right now, all to save $8 on the furniture if I would have just gotten it at IKEA.
Yeah, and it's the sort of the pieces don't fit as great together as you think they should, and you're is this supposed to be very snug, or is this built wrong? Do I need a mallet to make sure that these two halves of this table actually align? Now it's a little wobbly. And I have 5 washers left over for no reason.
And you screw everything in perfectly tight, only to find in step 83 of the directions that they tell you in broken English, please not to tighten yet.
Or you realize because the little sticker that says E or F or AA is on the outside of the thing when it actually had to be on the inside.
And there's no way to know. There's no way to know that you have it backwards until it's completely assembled.
No. There's no
So
way to know.
that's the hell that I'm in right now. But I'll say this: I'd rather be me than TikTok at the moment, because
Well,
if you're doing your power ranking of like people who are having the worst holiday season right now, like I'm up there trying to assemble this like random country's furniture. TikTok's got it worse because this TikTok ban in the US that was, we're like 12 months into this thing now. I think many people, including many people at ByteDance, thought, okay, something's going to happen. Something is going to happen that's going to keep this TikTok ban from going into effect. And, they can't possibly shut down, this incredibly large video network. Excuse me. And sure enough, here we are now, less than a month away from the January 19th ban going into effect. And basically what the latest is that earlier this month, the DC Circuit, which is the appeals court right before the Supreme Court, held in a unanimous decision that they upheld that congressional law that would basically force ByteDance to sell the TikTok platform, which they're not going to do, or face a January 19th ban. And so that was kind of their last real shot in through the typical court procedures. But it was reported on Wednesday that what's really their last chance now is that the U.S. Supreme Court has allowed a review of the case. And on January 10th, which is a really fast review process for the Supreme Court, we're going to see oral arguments on this TikTok ban, which means, guess what, Gen Zers? The fate of your very precious video platform is in the hands of 9 very old justices who absolutely wouldn't even know how to download TikTok onto their phone if they wanted to.
they say the apple's rotten right to the core. I
would give anything to watch like Sam Alito try to do that dance.
Try to do the apple dance. I am like saddened but not surprised. I have also heard reports that TikTok is allowing you to I guess it's either allowing you to do it for the first time or it is surfacing it a little bit more readily, the ability for you to download your videos from your account without a watermark, which feels like a sign of like, everybody grab your things, get on a bat. Oh, time to be, just slap the thighs. Time to be hitting the old dusty trail. It makes me so sad because, one, if you were actually concerned about your data, maybe you should look at Meta and every other app that has been using your data for nefarious purposes. 2, it makes me sad for the creators that have basically built entire careers, small businesses that are showcasing their process. The idea that this place was a place where I could follow drag queens and DIY folks and a beekeeper that was like teaching me all about how he was raising his bees. And I had curated one of the most like chaotic yet cozy and wholesome algorithms on the entire internet, and kind of sad to potentially see that evaporate just because it did kind of represent it's the platform where I personally have the most followers, I think, still at the moment, even though I haven't been on it for a while because I've been kind of like, why am I mean, do I want to play violin on the Titanic right now?
Right.
Or should I play it on Reels, which is just another sinking ship? But I guess this is
all your favorite TikTok videos 3 weeks later on Reels.
Exactly. Exactly. I am kind of heartbroken. I would, humbly suggest, if folks aren't old enough to remember what happened with Flappy Bird, if you do have a device that has TikTok installed on it, it may be worth a pretty penny if you do not delete TikTok off of that device. A device with TikTok installed may be able to fetch you a pretty penny on eBay, depending on how this goes in January. But all the more reason to practice. And I don't know who coined the term. Please, somebody in the comment section, let me know so we can give proper credit. But the POSSE policy of holding your space on the internet, publish on own site, syndicate elsewhere. Now, towards the end of the year, advice for indie creators is a perfect time to see if any domain providers are giving out sweet deals so that you can squat on your own personal.com, your own personal site on the internet, so that you can host all of these things and promote all your shows and promote your art and create your portfolio of your work on your own site, on your own domain that you own, because all of your art is subject to the whims of a bunch of unelected lifetime appointees.
I can't believe that we have to rehash the same advice that we gave to like the Vine stars 10 years ago. And now we're right back in it again. This same cycle of, if you put all your eggs in one particular media basket, the changing marketplace or the whims of the House of Representatives and the Senate could make that audience go away in a flash. And now we have this troubling situation. And I think about what you said earlier about privacy concerns. And look, don't get me wrong. I would love nothing more than for Congress to legitimately tackle our privacy and find ways to allow us to protect it online and protect it across the board. But that's not what Congress did here, right? Congress, took on a platform that was, from one particular country and banned that without actually solving any of the underlying problems with our country's privacy infrastructure, which is at least 10 years behind what they're doing in Europe to protect people's privacy. And they didn't do that. And instead, they just kind of went with this quick, kill a fly with a hammer approach, just going after one particular platform that's particularly important to a lot of young creators. And, I remember a couple months ago when we reported on the White House and President Biden having a creator summit where they invited all of these wonderful creators who were making their living on platforms like TikTok and saying, you guys are the future. You guys are the future of media. We love you. You have the government's support. Sure. And it turns out that all that was just a photo op for Joe Biden to get to put his arm around a bunch of cool young TikTok creators. And then when it actually came time to help those people and to create a place for them to thrive, you took away their largest media platform. What?
People
the
not
government being disingenuous? Come now.
Not having our best interests at heart. What? Yeah, it sucks because it is also a place where a lot of folks felt safe and felt like they could create communities. It was a place where they felt like they could be seen and share their work and share their music and make connections. I'm just kind of sad that we're having to kind of pick up sticks, but I feel like hopefully anybody with enough savvy to have been performing on this platform on a semi-regular basis will have maybe some of the institutional knowledge to know that okay, well, make sure that I have all of my stuff backed up. Time to syndicate elsewhere and just figuring out where it is that is going to be. I'm sad for very, very particularly all of the levels of community organizing within marginalized communities that we're going to lose, which I don't know, may or may not be the reason why this thing is being tackled in the first place, but that's another show.
Yeah. Well, in this vein of cool communities, I do want to quickly mention before we continue with the talk here that our guest coming up in the next segment is pretty interesting dude with a pretty interesting platform. We're going to be chatting with Joseph Perla, the founder and CEO of Hangout. This is a platform, Elisa, that I think could really tickle you just the right way as a musician and as somebody who is a social animal, loves interacting with people online. What Joseph Perla has created with Hangout is a social listening platform, and I had the opportunity to play with it a little bit before we did the show. And basically what it is, it's a place where you can go into like virtual rooms and listen to somebody kind of playing music for you. It's like a radio station. You know, you can go in like to different rooms that play different genres of music. You can create your own room and curate it to like a particular musical sound. And you get a cute little avatar and it can bounce around the room and everything. And there's a chat feature so you can engage with the other people that are in the room. And it's a simple idea, but it's trying to bring the social back to the music experience. And a lot of top shelf artists have already started using the platform and having their own listening parties for their own albums, hosting Q&A sessions there. So Hangout, just started. I think the platform is only about a month old, but it's already getting lots of publicity. And I'm excited to have us talk with Joseph Perla, learn more about it.
How lucky that we can kind of like talk to him while it's still kind of in the early stages. How exciting.
Before he gets a little too big for us and then, won't take our calls.
He actually took our calls today. That's pretty
That's right. No, he's a cool dude, great entrepreneur. He's, founded a lot of different companies in the music and tech space. And he's going to have a lot of great advice for our viewers and listeners as well. I need your help, Rock Doc, on something here. I know that the Game Awards happened recently.
Yes, they did.
And I've seen a lot of chatter about it, particularly on the video platform that we are about a month away from losing unless Sam Alito gets really chill in the next couple weeks. And so I've been trying my best from that to kind of catch up on the Game Awards. As I've gotten older, as I've had a 2-year-old dominating my life, I haven't been able to game as much as I used to. I'm falling behind the times. I don't even have like a current gaming system anymore. Although, if producer Lauren is listening and maybe is looking for a gift for her favorite podcast host, maybe my sister / producer might be willing to, throw a new Xbox my way, kind of get me back into the gaming world. But aside from that, one way that I'd like to get back into the gaming world a little bit, at least, is if you could tell us a little bit about what happened at the Game Awards. Give us a little Game Awards recap.
Yes. So the Game Awards happened just last week, and it was a 4-hour show because if we don't do things exactly like the Oscars, then are we actually a valid medium? Then no. So we have to have a 4-hour long show that is more advertisement than award. But that is just par for the course. But what I am excited about are some of the titles that did end up taking home some trophies this year. If I know you mentioned Xbox, but if for whatever reason you are a PlayStation inclined person, then I would highly recommend picking up Astro Bot, which got Game of the Year at the awards. It is I am an Xbox girly, but everything I have seen and heard about Astro Bot is that it's basically kind of the future of platforming. Like if anybody could give Mario a run for his money in terms of platforming and game mechanics and the kind of sort of whimsy and joy you can experience discovering new cute ass things for the first time, I think Astro Bot is kind of that.
So kind of wild that a platformer, and particularly a platformer that doesn't have the name Mario in it, won Game of the Year. I mean, is it, that I would think that in this era of like increasingly big budgets and increasingly complicated games, that a game like that one, Astro Bot, which is like a little robot and like a dog or something, would win Game of the Year. And then I think was it like a year or two ago that It Takes Two won Game of the Year, and that's, that was low budget indie platformer style thing. Like, what do you think accounts for that kind of shift in the industry? Is the audience, is like the gaming world sort of saying we want like our simplicity back in the gaming experience?
Yeah, I think AAA, I think maybe potentially overhired, got a little bit overexcited when everybody was staying home. And unfortunately, that is leading to wide swaths of layoffs across the industry, up to and including AAA. Games are getting a lot bigger. Some would argue maybe potentially a lot more bloated. You're competing for people's attention with all sorts of social media apps. And so in response, I think a lot of folks are there. There is a tweet that I will reference 1,000 times. And it's basically, I want smaller games that look crappier made by people who are actually in like decent mental health. And it's like, I want games that are shorter and look worse and take longer to come out, but ultimately end up being made by people that can actually like survive and actually sort of maintain their mental health throughout the process. And so a lot of people are gravitating towards these indie spaces. It's a lot more accessible to produce and create a game now. And I think there's also a lot of kind of nostalgia that comes through as well. So people being kind of nostalgic for older looks in video games. The dream of the 90s is alive everywhere, up to and including video games. To wit, my game of the year actually ended up winning Best Indie, I think Best Indie Debut, as well as Best Mobile Game. And that game is Balatro. And that is one of the simplest games on the planet.
Isn't that like a card game?
Yes, it is.
I think Spencer Hall from the Shutdown Fullcast, like big sports guy, big gaming nerd. I think it was his game of the year too.
Yep.
Like this is like it's like solitaire meets poker or something. Like, why are people into this game? Tell me what am I missing?
So Ryan, I feel like you and I grew up in sort of similar situations where if you are a kid who has a distinct experience of sitting at a bar, maybe being way too young to sit at a bar, and then just being kind of shoved a roll of quarters or some ones and being here, just fiddle on this video poker thing while I go grab a drink. This game is for you. If you are a video poker person, if you love a 5-card stud moment, this game basically is a roguelike video poker game, but it helps you cheat at poker. It completely reinvents your average, like 52 card deck. Jokers have different abilities. There is a joker, for example, that you could play as part of your loadout that gives you plus 20 multiplier on your score if you play queens or something, or like every card is treated as a face card and therefore is more valuable. And so with all of these different power-ups and stuff, you can earn more chips, and essentially you're kind of beating the ante, which is kind of each progressive boss, until you're able to play better and better hands. There are weird decks where it's like there's a deck that's only hearts and spades, so it makes flushes a lot easier. So there's all sorts of weird things, and you start off very, very simple, but once you get into the nitty-gritty, it develops into this sickness, Ryan, where you are hearing this 7/8 loop of music, and it's the same loop the entire time, but it lulls you. It hypnotizes you. And it almost looks, it has the look of it, with even like the scan lines, it almost looks like it's kind of being played on a CRT. It's available on mobile, which is incredibly dangerous. I love this game. And it's weird considering that it's just cards. The narrative is actually kind of smart, and the way that they play around with the different jokers and kind of the naming conventions for the jokers. It's really smart. It's really clever. It's deceptively simple, but incredibly addicting. And made by a single developer who I think still to this day has chosen to remain anonymous. And
so this is like kind of like that Flappy Bird situation. Like, wasn't there some of that in there too? Like a single developer, kept himself anonymous.
Yeah. So anything from, some major kind of AAA situation like a Helldivers 2, which I absolutely love and adore as well. Helldivers 2, if you ever wanted to actually like play Starship Troopers with the same kind of irony and humor, highly recommend Helldivers 2. Everything from Helldivers 2 to Balatro, just something as simple as that can end up being your game of the year. And despite the horrific conditions for workers still in the industry, I say through gritted teeth and tears, This was the best year in video games ever. As my friends are hunting for jobs and hearing nothing.
Oh my gosh. And why have I been hearing a lot of chatter about 21 Pilots at the Game Awards? Like I have read that apparently they performed at the Game Awards, and a lot of people I think were shocked to because I think it was probably the first time a lot of people had like actually seen 21 Pilots perform, other than just like hearing what's that song, Heathens on the radio.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so people were like, oh my God, like this isn't just like some group that like sings the song Heathens. Like they got range. Like they do incredible live shows. I think a significant portion of the population, myself included, when I saw the video, kind of got introduced to 21 Pilots from the Game Awards. Did you see this performance?
I think that might have been a pee break for me.
So like coming up next, 21 Pilots. Oh, Heathens? No, I can grab some snacks.
No, I always appreciate what they do with music at the Game Awards as well. My favorite segment is always when they do the mashup of all of the Game of the Year nominees and play all of their themes kind of woven together by this huge orchestra. And there's this one multi-instrumentalist that just plays everything from pan flute to like whatever, plays lute, flute, everything, and is just crushing it and just getting into it the entire time. I get kind of emotional hearing that, honestly, whenever I hear kind of music being performed live and interpreted in that sense, just because it's like, especially when the Balatro theme started getting woven in, I kind of teared up because I'm like, that has got to be one of the coolest feelings ever, potentially, is like, especially as like a game composer, kind of hearing your stuff interpreted by an orchestra. And I gotta imagine it's gotta be cool for 21 Pilots to be there. Like I love that we're living in a world where like musicians want to be actors, want to be rock stars, want to be in video games, and it's all possible. Everybody's in Fortnite.
Yeah, like it's nice to see the mediums mixing up in this way. It's nice to see, you know, musicians composing things for games and getting the recognition they deserve, whether it's at the Game Awards or at the Grammys, where now, you know, music for video games is a category at the Grammys. It's nice to see that there's more ways that music is getting licensed into video games. Still slow going, of course. Like I'm reminded of, for example, the DistroKid deal with Roblox, where a bunch of DistroKid music's getting licensed to Roblox, but there's no licensing fee for the artist. That's not great.
Oh,
but you know, baby steps. We're getting there. That's it. You know, it's cool to see, and I love, whether it is the indie game developers or the musicians who make video games, that a lot of unsung heroes in the gaming industry might be starting to get their due. And again, this just makes me really want to get an Xbox. Producer Lauren, are you listening? We need to make this happen, because it's either this or I talk my wife into getting me an Xbox, and like I'm not ready to have that conversation, because you know that's you know, we got a 2-year-old, and I'm gonna have to explain how it's not gonna make me a neglectful father if I get an Xbox, even though it probably will. And so it just needs to come from another source.
yeah, and I'm just saying, another sort of thing to kind of put on your radar and kind of bend the scales towards getting an Xbox came out, I think, too late for eligibility consideration, but Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I highly recommend you play that game if you ever wanted to literally play an Indiana Jones movie and hear Troy Baker do the best Harrison Ford impression I've ever heard, and just beat up fascists with various musical instruments. I highly recommend it.
I've seen the game footage. That wasn't Harrison Ford?
Nope.
God, it sounded like like Mosmite, when I saw the gameplay trailers, I was like, man, I can't believe they got Harrison Ford for this, because it sounded so much like him.
Nope. Troy Baker
Wow.
absolutely crushed it. Props to him. And the game is absolutely fun to watch. I've just been watching Evan, and I just like I don't even have anything in the background. I'm just watching him play this, because it's basically like it's the best Indiana Jones thing since Last Crusade.
That, I mean, a low bar to clear.
Bar, but like I think Evan has said it might be his, like, one of his favorite Indiana Jones movies.
I like
Like
that.
better than Temple of Doom.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, all right. Now I'm all the more convinced I need to get this machine.
Yep.
All right. Before we go to break, can you give us a little career update? What have you been up to, Rock Doc?
Of course. So I'm very, very happy to report that I have been booked, I have been busy, and it's for my favorite kind of thing, a thing I'm legally not allowed to talk about.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on. Those are always the best things. You come on this show and you tell us you're going to do something really cool, and then you can't tell us about it, and it winds up being awesome. I mean, get up. I'm not saying cross the line, okay? Get up to the line, though. Like, walk up to the line of what you're allowed to
Okay.
say and, like, do a pantomime where you got your hands on the glass. Tell us literally as much as
Okay.
you can without breaching contract.
Okay, so it is voiceover. It is not on camera. And it is I wasn't a character, but I was part of a group that was doing crowd noises. And I've done crowd work before, but this was in a kind of different setting in a bigger room with way more people, and way more cues. We were in there for, like 4 hours basically. And it was a really cool experience because it's like a choir when you're doing crowd work. Instead of you being your kind of singular person and you have to worry about diction and making sure that you get the copy correct and everybody can understand you and all that stuff. When you're in a crowd, your point is to not be clearly understood. Your point is to actually blend in and mix so that when someone is like watching the show, for example, they're not being like, wait, what's going on over here? And is, kind of like distracting from the main character. So it was really, really cool to work once again because VO is such an isolating thing. It's so nice to just be in a room with other people doing the thing and learning from my fellow actors, because that was the first time I'd done crowd work like that. And so I'm kind of like looking at them and kind of like being like, okay, what are y'all doing? So I can like easily blend in. And be a faceless member of the crowd. But very fun, very cool experience that I am looking forward to talking about. Maybe not in great detail, because I don't think I'll be allowed to talk about it then either. But I will be allowed to talk about all sorts of voice acting things, music things, all manner of fun at MagFest, which is the Music and Gaming Festival. That is happening next month. It is in National Harbor, Maryland. If you are super excited to be in the DC area in mid-January, you can come hang out with me. You can come hang out with me. I'm going to be on a variety of panels. I'm not only hosting my own panel, which is a Dr. Melendez's office hours, because nobody shows up to office hours, but maybe if I have it at a convention, maybe people will be compelled to actually show up to office hours. I don't know if you have that experience. Do your students show up to office hours, Ryan?
Oh, God, no.
Exactly. So I'm hoping that somebody actually shows up to these. So I'm hosting my own office hours. We're going to have discussions, Q&A, but also probably a very kind of light Crimson Echoes acoustic set. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge is part of that. May or may not be debuting a new song at the office hours panel. So very, very excited about that. Also, voice actor tips and tricks with other fellow voice actors, especially those, because it's a music and gaming festival, video game voice actors. There's a Jamming with the Stars jam session, which is almost like the voice style competition. So I'm kind of one of the, I don't know how I got this, but I'm one of the like expert musicians. It's kind of like judging a little bit
gosh.
and
Oh my
might even
gosh.
be like jamming out with people. There's also the Music and Gaming Educational Symposium. So if you are looking to actually further your career in video games or want to study them academically or want to pursue the career professionally, there's a professional networking panel that we're going to be a part of. So not only is it literally fun and games, but you can actually learn a lot at MagFest. And it's one of my favorite conventions of all time. Looking forward to being back, and I hope to see you there.
I mean, you've made some MagFest splashes in the past. This sounds like this will be your splashiest MagFest, though. It sounds like you're doing a lot this time. I mean, what kind of feelings does it give you when you kind of look back on, what you've accomplished over the years and now at the point where you're at and what you're going to get to do at this convention?
It's very, very weird because my very first MagFest, I was a grad student who was studying gender in games, and I didn't even realize that there were other people that were interested in the same kind of stuff academically as I was. I didn't realize that there was such a big community of people that were just so into the intersection of music and games that there's a whole convention about it. And now, like, I get access to the crafty as a guest. And it's very weird. Like, I'm hanging out with like GLaDOS and we're on a panel together.
Whoa.
And I'm like on a panel with like Erika Ishii from like Dropout and Apex, and like we're peers. It's very, very awkward, so much that I am blurry with excitement about it. It's very weird. The imposter syndrome is at an 11. But nothing makes me happier than being in a space where it's a 24-hour convention and it's people that are there. Like there's like no corporate presence. There aren't like highly anticipated games. We're not trying to like sell you a bunch of stuff and pre-order incentives and blah, blah, blah. Like it's not, that kind of like pukey situation that I think a lot of people are allergic to now. People are genuinely going to panels about like game theory and stuff. Like people are having intense academic discussions about ludology and narratology, and also like staying up late to play Mad Pinball in the arcade. Like this is I'm so excited. And to be a person that actually has. I have an autograph session on my schedule. Like, what is this?
What? Oh, that's cool.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it.
That's very cool.
But I am happy to be part of their number, and I hope that I can see some folks there. I hope that we can have an awesome time together, rock out, jam out, and at the very least, I'm gonna eat my weight in crab cakes.
I just want to know what kind of judge you're going to be when you're judging this, The Voice,
Paula.
American Idol style competition. You're a total Paula?
Full Paula. No, I'm not breaking hearts, man. I can't be someone's like Joker moment. Like I refuse.
I want to simulate this with you because, how far does the Paula stretch? Like, let's say, like, role play here. Somebody just completely beefs it in their audition. Just like they just don't have it. It's just not there. And there is nothing redeeming that you can pull out of that performance to emphasize in your judge. What do you say in that situation?
I think it takes a lot of bravery that a lot of these people back here do not possess, by the way, to get up here and do what you just did. And for that, I commend you.
I assume in that scenario, like, you have to turn back everybody else because they just finished like being like a real mean person to that person who just auditioned. Mm-hmm. So you're going to turn it back on them. I don't see any of you up here.
I don't see anybody on this sign-up. This sign-up sheet is dry. And this person came up here. So basically it's like, it's the I don't see anybody else up here. And like,
it's a good move.
Hey, the first crepe looks like ass, but it's still delicious. You know what I mean? I will come up with some like Yogi Berra metaphor or something to like bury any kind of criticism under a layer of fondant.
All right, man, that was quite adept. I'm looking forward to the MagFest recap. All right, let's take a break, and we're going to be back with our guest, Joseph Perla of Hangout here on Break the Business. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back so quick. Break the Business is presented in cooperation with Ryan A. Kairalla, PA. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA is a law firm providing transactional entertainment legal services, including contracts, business formation, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida. rkpalaw.com.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. One of my favorite TikTok memes that is floating around and always floats around this time of year, and I enjoy it every time, are the videos where people superimpose that final scene from A Muppet Christmas Carol where Gonzo goes, and Tiny Tim, who did not die, and then just like it's superimposed with like people like cheering and shouting, like they'll cut to like the mission control in Apollo 13 clapping at the end. Or the best one is like when they show like somebody like superimpose that scene from A Muppet Christmas Carol with the video of all the people watching the World Cup in the bar. So it's like, who did not die? Yeah, throwing things. And this is what the Supreme Court's going to be taking away from us.
Thank you.
It's so sad. Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla here with Elisa Rockdock. Thank you so much for checking us out wherever you check us out, whether it's on the podcast platforms or on our live stream home, volume.com, or at SiriusXM 145, wherever you're checking us out. We're glad that you are. Ryan Kairalla here, Elisa Rockdock here. We're having a blast. Let's go ahead and bring out our guest this week.
Lights on the mic, this is Joseph Perla Show. CEO Insights, you better hang out and know. Social listening, master breaking down the flow. Let's do it, folks, cause we're ready to go. Break the business, hear the gears grind. Big ideas born from a sharp mind. Joseph Perla, bringing truth you'll find. Tune in, now it's podcast time.
Our guest this week is an acclaimed entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Hangout, a social listening platform that allows people to set up virtual listening rooms where people can listen to music together. Hangout recently launched on November 13th, and artists like Sophie Tucker, Greta Van Fleet, Cage the Elephant, and Girl in Red have already held listening parties and Q&A sessions on the platform. You can find out more about our guest's work by visiting hangout.fm. We are happy to welcome Joseph Perla on to Break the Business. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, nice to meet you, Ryan.
Great to meet you as well. Excited about this platform. I was telling Rock Doc in the prior segment that I had a chance to peruse it, jam out, listen to music. I actually was in one of the rooms while I had music playing while I was doing work and having a great time with my little avatar and doing some chatting. I've been told that what you are trying to create with Hangout is a social listening experience. What are we talking about, Joseph, when we talk about social listening?
And I must interrupt because I come from a marketing situation where I've been so marketing pilled that I'm like, wait, social listening, as in like scrubbing TikTok and, all sorts of stuff for like mentions of our brand. Like, no, it's way more fun, thankfully, than that.
Yes, definitely. We're pretty focused on fun. And the way I like to say it is a lot of social platforms these days are all focused on fighting and conflict and division, right? And so we're building a whole new kind of social platform that's focused on connection and unity and harmony. And the way we're doing that is with music.
I dig that. Well, but like, so what does it look like in practice? I talked a little bit about like the avatars in the room and the chat features. I don't think I explained it nearly as well as you could. For the uninitiated, when somebody gets into the Hangout platform, what do they get to enjoy?
It's really something that's really hard to describe. I really try to start with thinking about when you invite someone into your home, you have your space, and you say, if they're there for a while, you put on some music, right? And if you go to a cafe, there's music. Anytime you hang out in a physical space, you always put on music for you and your friends or strangers even. But there's one place that we're all spending more and more time that there's never music playing, and that's online. You could be in a WhatsApp group for a long time or a Discord or never music playing. And so we just solve that. We kind of like take all your group chats and we add a music jukebox. We add a jukebox so that anyone in that group chat can also play music so that the whole crowd can hear.
Well, I should mention that part of the reason why there's never music playing in the online space in the same way there is that when you go to a friend's house is we have this thing called copyright laws, and it makes that particular thing very difficult, right? Like most online platforms, you can't just play music in there because you'd violate about 1 billion different federal laws. Now, I know Hangout has gone a long way in solving that particular very difficult problem by actually striking licensing deals with a lot of these major music companies, right?
Exactly. And so the reason that has never been possible before in these other group chats and social platforms is because they don't think of licensing specifically for this use case, creating a business model around it, and getting these deals. We've done deals with Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, Sony Music Entertainment, everywhere across the board, globally. We're very excited to have announced the soft launch of our beta platform on November 13th. And we're really excited. People are now trying it out, seeing how to use it, creating some public hangouts that you tried out, and seeing that you can create your own space, have it be really fun, invite your friends, and now you're creating a way for you to actually have a space online to invite your friends. And you can use it with your friends who are remote. It's actually even more fun when you use Hangout, even in the same physical room.
Now, now I have to like, how does that work? Because if you're already in the same room, like, wouldn't you just be like playing it on your stereo?
Yeah, if you put it on your stereo, then only Rock Doc gets to pick the music, but then you don't get to pick the music, Ryan. So imagine.
All right, well, you shut me up.
Okay, so this is a situation where, like, you can kind of, well, I feel very reluctant to do so. I'm very, very picky about my curation, but you could, if you wanted to, pass the aux to someone else.
Exactly.
Rock Doc would never pass me the aux if we were in the same room. That's the most unrealistic thing about what you've proposed so far, Joseph. But
well, right, you can pick, you can create your space and then pick who is allowed to be a DJ.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would be. So the way it works, at least if you look into the rooms, is there's like a stage, and like the DJs are up on the stage with their little avatars, and then the rest of like the public are like on the floor. So you'd have me like on the floor, far from the turntable, while you and people you trust more with the aux cable would be up on the stage with your little avatars.
Okay, cool. Okay, excellent.
And by you picking a space, you get to make the rules of it. You can say, oh, only classical music or only house music, or you can just tell people what you really want. And if it doesn't fit, you just escort them off the stage. And the stage is actually, we create a almost physical space, right? We create this visual environment that's very beautiful, and you can swap out different visual environments. And it makes it game-like. You actually talked earlier about games, right? And how a lot of games aren't necessarily fully realistic 3D games anymore. Sometimes it's a throwback. And that's what we're doing with this Hangout. We're also throwing back to kind of a retro style. Everything is kind of 2D. Do you know Club Penguin?
Yes.
We kind of talk about it that way. It's like it's all 2D flat, but it's super fun. And it's a throwback, and it fits everything that you were talking about in terms of games. So you can get points. If you DJ really well, you get more points. You can build up to be the top DJ on our leaderboard across the whole site. And we're just encouraging people to really make a name for themselves and have fun DJing, discover new music, and share it.
It does give me Club Penguin vibes. I got to go back to this licensing question because I've worked with labels and publishing companies for a long time in my legal practice. To call them reluctant to accept new technology would require a gift for understatement. So talk to me about how you were able to get into the room with these folks. like tell them what you're trying to do. Say, hey, this is something that's really kind of like bending, what people have normally allowed people to do with music online. And how did you get them to a yes is my question.
So I started this process for Hangout to get the deal starting in 2020. So it only took 4 years. Like, come on.
Which is lightning fast in our industry to get the labels to do anything, by the way.
And they're just very excited because, were you a fan or user of Turntable.fm in 2011?
Yeah, familiar, absolutely.
Yeah, so in 2010, I had the idea for sharing YouTube videos with a link, and I realized that it's a great way to get to know people. It's a great way to kind of socialize. And I designed and made and shipped and created Turntable.fm, and then went super viral. Was not licensed in 2011. So
oops.
Yeah, so it wasn't the right time. It was a bit early, probably 10 or 15 years too early for a lot of reasons. But I'm excited that in 2020, they were more excited to let me see this through and let us be able to get to this beautiful launch that we're doing.
It's really cool because what it reminds me of is when, like, which is kind of funny. It's like probably like the best and maybe only good thing about working in an open office plan with my particular coworkers is that we would kind of do that where we would have a system set up and be like, all right, we take turns slapping on a song for everybody kind of in our office. And it was a really cool way for each of us to kind of get to know each other a little bit better and kind of, we kind of like up the ante on certain things and kind of like challenge each other to like find a new cool song to put on. So I feel like this is kind of carrying that forward and also expanding it so that, Ryan all the way over there, and all of our buddies scattered to the four winds, we can have our own unhinged DJ party. That's really exciting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It worked really well in the same room or cubicles in 2011, and it works even better now also in the same room, but also because everyone's doing remote work these days, it really helps people get to know each other. It's like a virtual digital water cooler. It lets people actually hang out and talk. That's why I call it Hangout. Hang out and talk over music, get to know each other's musical taste, or just get to know each other. But it's not Slack, right? Slack's about...
Oh, God.
We don't need another Slack, please.
PTSD. No.
This is for hanging out, for music, for chill, and it's just really, really fun. And you're right, you can kind of, again, it's not formal, but you're just kind of playing off each other's music, playing off each other's sounds, really building up to something and then building down. You can make up games like guess the song or guess who's picking the song or play on themes. It's just the possibilities for making up your own little fun games is infinite.
So this is, in kind of an early sort of stage, early launch stage. Could I ask if there are any interesting plans, any kind of new features for kind of a big 1.0 coming up?
Yeah, the biggest thing is we're planning on being ready with the full platform and the full subscriptions that are coming out. The plan is to have that ready all for January 19th, 2025. So that's coming up as soon. You'll see everything come out and be able to create private hangouts, subscribe, and invite people and all that.
The timing on that, like TikTok out, Hangout in.
Exactly.
The same day. My goodness. So talk about how artists could use this platform theoretically as a tool, right? I know you've already had a lot of top shelf artists hosting Q&A sessions and listening parties for their own music on this platform.
Yeah, so a lot of artists are coming to us wanting to collaborate, wanting to promote their albums, promote their tours, sell merch. We've done events, for example, with Greta Van Fleet, where they just had a really fun concert and people, just like in a real concert, were like, wow, this is an amazing album release, amazing music video release. I'm going to buy a shirt to remember this. So they went to the Shopify, bought a shirt that moment. And so many people did this because when you build these kind of intimate connections, the way you can on Hangout, which is really fun, people remember that. So it's just really, really something that a lot of artists are starting to see is just especially with the avatars and the way it's just so interactive, a lot of artists are excited to promote their album with our music. And the artist can be there, or they could just kind of answer questions or leave a voice message or drop a video. Some of them want to release pre-release music or stuff they're working on for the next album, because we let them upload and actually play some songs that aren't even ready, or something they're just thinking about. They can also invite their buddies who they like the music of, and do kind of a round robin where they play music, friends play music. They can take an audience member, bring them up on stage, and let them play their favorite songs from their albums or other influences or their music. And it's just that kind of intimate space we're making, even though everyone's thousands of miles away.
That's amazing. Like, I love the idea of potentially, having audience members kind of submit their own requests to an artist and be like, hey, play this one. And also having kind of that like immediate feedback from folks in that sort of stage setting, I feel like is also really great for an artist to kind of get that real time, like, yes, play this, please play something from your new album. Actually play this like B-side that maybe you didn't think was awesome, but actually the audience really, really loves. I think it's a really, really cool tool.
Exactly. And the artist can collect with a form, collect emails from the users. They can get a recording of it. We keep track of how many people come in. It's really, really fun. They do sell more merch. They sell more albums. They stream, all the streams count because we're working with the labels, and they really love this.
I like that a lot. And I like the idea of a platform that's trying to go against the tide that we're experiencing in recent years of music becoming an increasingly isolating experience, at least the listening to music, right? More than ever, it's a much more solo activity than it used to be. Like, music used to be something you enjoyed with your friends. Now you put in your earbuds, and it's a very private, very personal, intimate experience, which is nice in its own way, because like sometimes you just want to listen to music for yourself. But I think we're losing that social aspect in music as we all kind of become isolated and more distant from each other. And the idea of a platform like yours coming out that could try to, deliver us what we used to have a little bit in the old days is nice. And love to see that continue to move forward. Wonder if there's like a Break the Business collab in there somewhere. Maybe we have maybe we do a podcast episode on Hangout. Put music in there. That would, little avatars. I like this.
I would love that.
You should totally. You two can DJ, and you can invite the community on and like get them to DJ if they want, or just kind of talk to them in a nice kind of collaborative way. And just play your favorite songs. I mean, the thing about it is it's very chill. It's very low effort. You can do it, you can do this tomorrow because it's so little to set up. If you do something on Twitch, which is a great platform, but you have to take a camera and get, put makeup and get set up and get your background all nice. And it's a lot of effort potentially. Hangout, we have the avatars and you pick a song and it's great. It's the most fun thing. You don't even have to think of what to say. You can just play music, or you can, chat over the music or between the music. It's really flexible, really simple, really chill. It's just the way with your friends.
I don't want to shower and shave. I want to be a cute little 16-bit avatar on Hangout. Our guest has been Joseph Perla. He is the CEO and founder of social listening platform Hangout. You can find out more about our guest's work by visiting Hangout FM. Joseph, this has been really cool, my friend, and I've enjoyed learning more about you and learning more about this platform. And I'm wondering if we get a little bit of advice from you before you head out. We got one last question. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
I can plug my site. It's a great place to play music for your new fans. You can try out music that you're experimenting with, and you can promote it and really have directed feedback conversations. There's a difference between sending a SoundCloud link to someone, you don't even know if they heard it, versus actually playing it live. They heard it, and then you actually get some live feedback. And there's a thumbs up and a thumbs down, so you get some immediate data on how much people like it compared to your other songs. So Hangout.fm is a great way for indie artists to promote things as well.
And even though it's kind of in a soft launch right now, like artists can access it and start using it today?
Yeah, please. Definitely.
Very cool.
On every platform, native iOS, native Android, web, and we also have an integration with Discord, so we're built into that platform.
Right.
So, yeah.
That is good. Yeah, I could certainly see the overlaps between like those kind of platforms. Joseph, I want to stay in touch with you as this platform continues to thrive. I want to see more of what you have going on. Don't be a stranger. I would love to have you on again real soon and get some updates about Hangout.
Sweet. I'd love to. Thank you.
Our thanks to Joseph Perla, our thanks to Elisa Rockdock and producer Lauren, and our thanks to all of you viewers and listeners out there for checking out Break the Business. Happy holidays. Mwah, we love you, and we'll see you next week.